Yes, generally speaking, Nvidia is in Washington attempting to convince the government and other sectors of the economy. They're essentially pushing forward, saying, hey, no, we're going to make it possible for everybody to use AI, even if the rest of the industry is attempting to catch up with them in terms of hardware and produce the best technology possible. They are in Washington in an effort to move the entire industry forward. However, as you point out, the power issue is a persistent worry that everyone has over the general use of this technology. NVIDIA is attempting to portray their technology and themselves as the solution rather than the issue. Okay, so describe what we have in detail. I read in your report that OpenAI's GPT-4 software was developed using 3 GW of power from Blackwell chips. That's a significant decrease from its previous usage. Well, this is just for their example. The Hopper chips of the previous version drew roughly 700 watts, which is why they are claiming that this is more efficient. The Blackwell version, which is now on the market, will draw 1.3 kilowatts. Everyone is thinking, oh dear, is this going to cause the Earth to go dark? Because there is clearly much more. And perhaps not, is the response. Their claim that it's more efficient because it works so much faster is the issue. That's correct in one sense, but perhaps more power is being drawn overall if more Blackwells are deployed than Hoppers. The argument being made here on the proper deployment of these items is somewhat complex. With the goal of pitching their AI technology to the government and other sectors, Nvidia is making progress in Washington. Nvidia is seizing the lead by positioning their technology as a means for everyone to access artificial intelligence, while other businesses are attempting to catch up in terms of hardware. By presenting their innovations as a solution rather than a challenge to the adoption of AI, they are establishing themselves as a catalyst for the progress of the entire sector. However, the amount of power needed to operate AI systems continues to be a worry. NVIDIA responds to this by introducing their new Blackwell processors, which are said to be more efficient overall, even though they are more potent and consume more energy. 1.3 kilowatts as opposed to 700 watts for their prior Hopper chips. They contend that the Blackwell chips ultimately consume less power for the same functions because they operate more quickly. Nevertheless, increasing the number of these chips could still result in a higher overall energy demand, which would raise significant concerns about how to balance environmental effect and efficiency. For all the crucial information, be sure to watch through to the very end. Please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy keeping up with the most recent NVIDIA news and stock market movements. It is totally free and contributes significantly to the channel's funding. Let's get started, perhaps unless we restart nuclear power plants and reactors, as Microsoft and Constellation are attempting to accomplish with 3 Mile Island. The globe will fall black, perhaps. Indeed, there are numerous ways to address this issue, and nuclear power is one of them. Another alternative is to construct these data centers in areas with greater access to renewable energy. Jensen Huang discusses it on a micro level, pointing out that because these devices grow so hot, a lot of power is lost cooling them down. As a sort of back-to-the-future solution to this issue, his most recent generation will be water-cooled, which will lower the overall energy loss. There are several options available, but given the direction we're taking with regard to data manipulation and the implications for the amount of computation that's being deployed, it is undeniably necessary to implement them. Indeed, another article about Google collaborating with utilities in the US and other nations to evaluate nuclear power as a potential energy source for them was reported today. All right. Thus, the feeling is both yay innovation and yay possibly another big problem. However, Ian from Nvidia also discussed agent blueprints. What is some software news about? Assist us in comprehending and improving our understanding of Nvidia's operations. Indeed, they are essentially attempting to please everyone. They are developing solutions for everything they perceive to be a barrier to the widespread use of AI. It's a highly dynamic endeavor, and it's difficult to criticize the amount of work being done, regardless of whether it succeeds or fails. The last mile, the final piece of software, is what an agent is. You're a business that has trained a huge model with all the intelligence built in, but you still need something that helps with customer service. Isn't OpenAI's generic solution inadequate? You need something specific, something that will help you with medication discovery, customer service, or designing a new car. Hey, we'll give you the blueprints to do these things so you can go even faster. No obstacles toward deployment is what Nvidia is saying. Businesses go forward and do action. They're doing that. And it's difficult to dispute that they aren't anticipating every issue and working to find solutions at this very moment. Today, the Nasdaq is suffering, with Nvidia suffering the most, falling more than 3%. And now that semiconductor startup Cerebras has filed for an IPO, it might be up against some fresh competitors. Today's Tech Check has our Seema Modi on the story. Hello, Seema. Carl, KOTU, Benchmark, and Altimeter Capital are among the largest tech companies who support Cerebras. Former AMD executive Andrew Feldman, the company's CEO, claims that its artificial intelligence processors for inference are less expensive than those made by Nvidia and AMD. According to Feldman, Cerebras wafers are more than 50 times larger than those of its competitors, which speeds up processing in contrast to the industry's fixation with smaller chips. The company's S1 shows growth is rising amid this AI surge, with 2023 sales jumping by more than 200%. The majority of its revenue, 87% of sales in the first half of this year, comes from a conglomerate in the United Arab Emirates called G42, as well as GSK and the U.S. government, even though it is not yet profitable. Additionally, the S1 points out that it is vulnerable to risks like shifts in policy or demand from the state-backed tech company because of its reliance on its partnership with G42. Going up against a company like Nvidia, the industry leader in AI chips, is no minor task, and switching is expensive. The key question, according to Wall Street analysts, is whether Cerebras can land a sizable order from a hyperscaler that presently builds its AI models using some of the more well-known brands, such as Nvidia. Taiwan Semiconductor is used by Cerebras to fabricate its chips, just like Nvidia and the others. According to what I've been informed, this 5-year-old semiconductor business intends to go public this autumn with a $10 billion value goal. A new wave of AI initial public offerings, IPOs, may result from this, according to some private tech investors. One of the first businesses from the plethora of AI firms emerging in this new era would be Cerebras. For fresh IPO aspirants, the way it is received by investors in the public market will be a major clue, gentlemen. We've been waiting for initial public offerings, IPOs, and now we know how to pronounce it, and I suppose you should be a chip rival to Nvidia in AI if you plan to go public. I'm grateful, Seema. Regards. Oh, you're in the investment business. Everyone you meet, and I mean everyone, says to you. What are your thoughts on Nvidia? Additionally, some individuals are unaware of what Nvidia is. Do you not think that has somewhat subsided? Sure, that's a good thing. The market is healthier as a result. It's like, given what we heard from the person cutting our hair, we should all own GameStop. Not in my opinion. Thus, the dynamic remains the same. You need a bigger picture, and the experts purchasing these stocks. I mean, we are familiar with the businesses we are purchasing. There are other purchases in addition to the S&P index upward movement. There will still be Nvidia earnings watch parties, so I'm not saying that we won't have them anymore. But it does seem like some of the excitement has subsided, which is positive. You may say that's a good thing. In addition to the Medicaps, a chip manufacturer may file for an initial public offering, IPO. Cerebras is it. They might challenge Nvidia. The company was valued at $4 billion in the most recent fundraising round, and supporters included Altimeter Benchmark, KOTU, and Sam Altman. They intend to list on the Nasdaq. I hope you enjoyed and learned something from today's video. As always, I wish you the best, and we'll see you in the next one. Music.